Hello, everyone. We are so excited to see you. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for a second episode of Healing with Hope and Faith. Sit back and get comfortable as we dive in for today's topic. Before we get into episode 2, I feel like this would be a good time for me to plug in my disclaimer. I am not a therapist nor a mental health professional, and no, I don't play one on TV. If you feel like you need professional help on your healing journey, by all means, please reach out to someone in your area. I am just a woman who has experienced some of the same things you have. And while I'm on my own journey, I'm sharing what I've seen, learned, and the things that have worked for me, hoping that the information will be beneficial to someone else. Online therapists and their social media posts were my go to when I could no longer afford in person sessions. So lately, I'm noticing that there's more focus on pushing certain techniques from books versus connecting with people's real life experiences. And I am in no way disregarding their years of expertise or experience, but I am saying that healing is not a one size fits all. There are 26 letters in the alphabet, and when A, B, and C didn't work for me, I explored the remaining 23 until I found the ones that did. My hope is that as a survivor, I can motivate another survivor to keep going, keep trying, and to keep healing. And now for today's topic, unlearning love equals pain. When love hurts more than it heals, it's time to unlearn what we were taught love was. For those of us who grew up in homes with corporal punishment and demeaning tongue lashes, we learned that love had to be brutally soul-crushing and that it was supposed to hurt. The discipline and harsh words under the guise of tough love. But what this really taught us was that love has to break you, and you were supposed to not just tolerate it, welcome it. But the truth is, love was never meant to be painful, and it certainly wasn't meant to be harmful. But growing up in homes where hitting or yelling were the first response of all adults, we learned that chaos was passion. We saw one or both parents give the silent treatment and call it keeping the peace. We watched women tear up the house, throw out the clothes of a cheater, only to turn around and let him right back in, and do it all again within a matter of weeks. Or worse, we saw our parents choose someone they knew were harming us in one way or another and choose to let that person stay in the house because they loved them, forgetting the very loud message that they were sending to us by making that choice. No one ever called it what it was, codependency, and a lack of wanting to be alone. Instead, we were told we'd understand when we got older. I didn't then, and the understanding I have now leads back to the fear of being alone. Drop a red heart if you're unlearning toxic ways of loving and learning what healthy love looks like. The expectations of our caregivers was widely responsible for how we saw love. A good report card garnered special attention and affection, so we learned that love was performative. The more they yelled and threatened, the more docile and obedient we became. Giving the people what they want helps keep the peace. People pleasing. Did you try to do whatever you thought they wanted before they asked for it, learning that love had to be earned? Did they become cold and distant if you disappointed them, teaching you that love left when mistakes were made? When I look back over childhood and young adult years, I'm blown away at the parent-to-child silent treatment and push and pull relationships in my family dynamic. It's no wonder so many of the younger people ended up in toxic relationships or just said F it and became serial cheaters. For many of us, attachment issues didn't just pop up. They were taught to us. If your parents or caregivers were in and out emotionally, they trained you to hold on for dear life to whatever small amount of love or attention or affection they gave, which conditioned you to accept being breadcrumbs. Whether they were too quick to grab a weapon, to discipline, or too harsh with their words, what they taught us was no matter how you're treated, you stay and you work on proving you're worthy of being treated better. Having to walk on eggshells to keep the peace, avoid conflict, and garner any type of accolades or affection taught us that intensity was a form of intimacy, and pain and passion were intertwined. But our healing journey is teaching us that love doesn't compete for our peace, it creates it. Drop a raised hand in the comment section if you're familiar with any of these false examples of love. In many of our households, love wasn't shown, it was assumed. Even in some where I love you was said frequently, the actions towards you, the harsh words, the constant up and down emotionally left you questioning whether or not you really were loved. You are expected to be grateful and forever indebted to your parents because they provided a roof, clothes, and food. Yes, you want to teach your child to be appreciative, but you don't get to hold it over their head like they owe you for doing your parental responsibility. I said what I said. Guilt-tripping your children because you, the parent, had to provide for them is especially hard to stomach when the climate under that roof that you provided was emotionally volatile, emotionally chaotic, verbally harsh, and physically tasking, if not abusive. The children who grew up in these environments are now adults staying in relationships with people who are emotionally neglectful, emotionally abusive, or verbally and emotionally abusive because it's the only way we've ever known how to love or how to be loved. As we unlearn and rebuild, we learn that healing old wounds means rewriting and replacing the definition of love we've held on to for so long, and it starts with how we love ourselves. We show ourselves that love isn't loud, confrontational, manipulative, painful, forced, or punishing. We embrace that love is safe, patient, gentle, kind, and reciprocated. Unlearning love equals pain means learning that boundaries don't make you difficult. They keep you emotionally and physically safe. And self-love is not selfish. It's the beginning of true love. It's the beginning of loving you. You deserve to feel loved. You deserve to feel safe. And that starts with you loving you. Today's affirmation: I release the belief that I must suffer to be loved. If you were taught love equals pain, the time has come to unlearn that and teach yourself a new way to love. The love you deserve doesn't silence you, break your spirits, or make you perform. It doesn't play on the hurt in you, it brings out the best in you. Thank you for tuning in to Healing with Hope and Faith today, where we're saying if love hurts more than it heals, we're unlearning what we were taught and embracing the kind of love that finally feels safe. Thank you again. I hope to see you next week.